in Norfolk. That's where we've learned a police officer has been arrested for sexual assault. 44-year-old Herman Martin is accused of attacking a woman over the weekend.
Controversial hire in the Ashtabula County Sheriff's Department. Former Ashtabula police officer who has been behind lawsuits against the city totaling $9 million.
Breaking coverage now on the decision not to file criminal charges in the death of an unarmed man named Kylan Lewis. Lewis was shot in May by an Aurora SWAT officer who believed the cell phone in his hand was a gun.
We have new details this evening regarding the tasing death of a man in Temple. The police department identified him as 43-year-old Billy Gordon. We first brought you this story on our 6 p.m. newscast last night. Authorities say they were called out to a home because he was acting erratically. 2 officers arrived and say they found Gordon drinking dish soap and oil. Officers say they tried to subdue him but failed. One of them used their taser 4 times to try to get him into custody.
Gordon went unconscious and was later pronounced dead. We talked to his sister over the phone this afternoon, who says he tried to go to rehab last week but was denied because he was in a wheelchair and did not meet requirements. She says that he had recently had a foot amputated, adding that, quote, everyone who knew him knew he was a good person when he was sober. The Texas Rangers are continuing to investigate.
He was a Metro sergeant and now he is a criminal defendant.
Jury returned a true bill against Kevin Hendrick Menon.
Prosecutors listing the 13 charges against Kevin Menon after Metro Police say the sergeant, one of their own, duped people on the Las Vegas Strip by creating fake scenarios to then arrest them, a violation of rights. In one case, Menon, while in plain clothes, is accused of bumping into a man he deemed a person of interest to get a reaction, similar to setting a trap. Menon is currently on unpaid administrative leave with suspension of police powers, according to the department, while his criminal case unfolds. Attorney Austin Barnum is representing Menon.
What do you want to say about the allegations?
Look, what we'll say about the allegations is going to come out in due course, and you'll hear it throughout the course of this case. But right now, we were here to cross-examine witnesses. We were ready to go, and the state changed their mind.
Barnum referring to the grand jury indictment. Menon was originally scheduled to appear in Las Vegas Justice Court for a preliminary hearing Wednesday morning, where a judge would decide whether the case should move forward. But instead, prosecutors took the case to the grand jury.
Good morning. Welcome to the Bad Apple Report. It's 7:30 a.m. bright and early right here at home on the range. Thank you so much for being here today, folks. I really appreciate it. Like every day here at home on the range, we have a bunch of bad apples to get to. So without further ado, on with the show.
This young man is only walking, having fun, enjoying the day with his son. And you see him just pass right by those law enforcement officers.
They see me, my son waving at them. Hey, I keep walking because I know it has nothing to do with me.
Come here.
He's on my neck like this. As I'm walking right here, I feel hands come behind me. One gun go on my back. One officer tries to take him off of me. And the one started yanking at his legs, and they trying to pull him right here, and that's when he started screaming and yelling. And once they put the guns on my back, like my whole body just shut down. Like my heart dropped. There was like a feeling of panic.
My hands behind my back. And began to physically assault him on the ground. Because of what? All because they thought he fit the description of some other young black male. Well, all young black men don't look alike.
But they threw me to the ground, they kicked me, assaulted me, kept the guns in my face, trying to intimidate me, scare me. I don't know where my son's at. He's going to CPS as far as they telling me.
And we are demanding those officers be disciplined. One wrong move, were you going to shoot him in this baby? All of that was not necessary. It was over the top. It was excessive use of force.
Because it wasn't right. That was very unprofessional, and they could have killed me and my son. My phone was cracked. The screen, I had to get it fixed because when they threw me on the ground, my whole screen cracked.
Thank God a neighbor had video of the entire encounter, and so he has proof of what they did to him and how they treated him and this little bitty baby. And still to this very day, not even an apology because they feel that he is not even worth that.
Now, Davis says he was ultimately handcuffed, fingerprinted, and then released after about 30 minutes when they realized he was not the man they were looking for.
While off duty, he's accused of repeatedly punching a man more than twice his age. It happened after a football game last year at Chippewa Valley High School. This is new surveillance video from that night. Here's 7 investigator Ross Jones with what the department is saying about the officer's conduct.
People versus Philip John Rodriguez.
A Detroit police officer had a court date this week over an alleged assault that took place more than a year ago. Officer Philip Rodriguez was off duty at the time last October, attending a football game at Chippewa Valley High School. While there, according to police records, Officer Rodriguez's truck was parked where it shouldn't be, blocking an entrance used by the high school's marching band. After an announcement was made to move the vehicle, Rodriguez's girlfriend would. And when she did, she said she encountered a school employee who yelled profanities at her. The employee would deny using any profanity, but said he told the woman not to park there. 20 minutes later, surveillance camera captured this. That's Officer Rodriguez returning in his truck, and that's the school employee, a 64-year-old man who said Rodriguez asked him, "Do you want to say that to a man?" It was then, he said, that the officer shoved him, then punched him repeatedly, knocking him to the ground. The 64-year-old would tell police that while he was on the ground, Rodriguez punched him 5 times in the face. A woman who said she witnessed the assault reported pulling the officer off of the man and said the officer then shoved her. When Clinton Township Police responded, they said the school employee had a laceration on his face along with dry blood and a swollen lip. Then last December, Officer Rodriguez was charged with aggravated assault and assault and battery.
Did you know about this?
Absolutely not. The first time I heard about this is when you brought it to my attention.
Ricardo Moore is a Detroit police commissioner who reviewed the police report from that night along with the surveillance video of the alleged assault.
If it was an issue where police needed to be involved, the officer would know to call the police himself, not take matters into his own hands and assault an elderly man.
Since December, Officer Rodriguez has been on paid administrative leave from the department. His father is a high-ranking official in DPD, captain of the city's 12th precinct. The department said that connection played no role in Chief James White's decision not to pursue Rodriguez's pay. Instead, they said, it was based exclusively on the seriousness of the misconduct and the feasibility of obtaining board approval for the suspension, not who his father is.
Alrighty, in the headlines, we have the now former fluorescent police officer charged with assault of motorist during off-duty crash. Ooh. What a bright individual. Okay, Clayton, Missouri. A now former fluorescent police officer is facing felony charges after authorities say he assaulted and threatened a motorist during an off-duty traffic crash in Chesterfield. St. Louis County prosecutors on Wednesday charged Preston Caruso with third-degree assault and first-degree harassment, both Class E felonies. A warrant for his arrest has been issued with a bond set at $75,000 cash only. Oh! Well, okay, a fluorescent police spokesperson told First Alert 4 that an open records request would have to be filed to obtain dates of service of Caruso. Oh, they don't want to help us with anything. Well, fine. But that he did, past tense, work for the department. Charging documents in the criminal case refer to him as off-duty police officer. First Alert 4 will update you on this stuff. According to the Chesterfield police statement, supporting charges, the incident happened on October 1st during a minor traffic accident on Interstate 64 near Long Road. When officers arrived, they found one of the drivers trembling and bleeding from the mouth. The other driver was identified as Caruso, who, following the crash, accused the other driver of not having insurance and made multiple threatening comments, some of which were captured by the victim on an audio recording. According to the affidavit, Caruso used his fist to strike the other driver in the face and told him, "Welcome to America," the affidavit states. He then allegedly threatened to assault the victim again if he blamed the crash on him. Oh, copper. Police said victim is heard saying, "I'm sorry, don't hit me again." Officers noted several hours after the incident, he was still visibly upset and his hands were still shaking. In initial court appearance, Caruso has... there's not one set for him yet. And There will be an update to this story right here on the Bad Apple Report.
It's May 5th, a strip mall at 48th in Colorado. The focus is on the red Monte Carlo at the top of the screen and the black SUV in front of it. It's not clear what is going on between people in the two vehicles. The black SUV and two motorcycles head west on 48th. 13 seconds later, the Monte Carlo appears, then stops. Someone in the car fires shots. Let's slow it down. A pedestrian turns and runs. A bullet appears to skip off the pavement, and the Monte Carlo heads south.
Cars, we're going to hold the air for a second, 48th in Colorado.
Police investigate. It'll be an hour before a man who'd been along 48th reports being shot in the shoulder.
No, I literally just pulled up.
Documents obtained by 9 News Investigates show a person who knew Lewis said he was driving the red car. Police had no gun, no fingerprints, no identity of whoever was in that black SUV. They got a warrant for Lewis's arrest.
What was needed was probable cause, and there is that, but not by much.
In other words, according to 9 News legal analyst Scott Robinson, it was more likely than not that Lewis was the suspect.
We have a victim. We have a red Monte Carlo, which you can't really identify the license plate, and that's good enough for most judges to issue a warrant.
A judge signed that warrant 2 days later. 2.5 weeks after that, Lewis was dead, and the case was closed.
The prosecution certainly had a good chance of winning the case, but it was anything but a slam dunk.
After Lewis's death, Denver police searched that red Monte Carlo and found gunshot residue inside. But according to Robinson, the passage of time made it of little use in showing that Lewis fired those shots. Live in the newsroom, Kevin Vaughn, 9 News.
Yeah, Tom, the victim's complaint would not come immediately. It would take about 4 days. But when it did come, the officer involved got a sharp rebuke from his police chief. 44-year-old Norfolk police officer Herman Martin on the force 8 years, now finding himself on the wrong side of the law. Martin's on administrative duty pending the outcome of the investigation into claims he sexually assaulted, forcible sodomy, a guest at the Motel 6 on October 4th. The victim complained Wednesday, and Martin turned himself in Wednesday night. We went to Martin's home and met a Norfolk police captain with investigations coming out.
Can't help you, sorry.
Officer Martin, can you tell us anything about what happened with Officer Martin? We then went and knocked on Martin's door. No one answered, but back at the Motel 6 where Martin worked security, even worked yesterday, Norfolk detectives spent the day at the motel dotting I's and crossing T's in the investigation. Is there anything you can tell me about Officer Martin and the alleged assault? About what capacity he was serving?
Speak with the PIO's officer.
Around 12:50, Officer Benjamin showed up. He'd stayed just over an hour. Were you able to find anything on the surveillance video?
You have to speak to the PIO's officer.
Norfolk Police Chief Mark Talbot stated, "Today as a department, we join our community in feeling deeply disappointed by these allegations. I ask for the continued support of the community as the actions of one are not reflective of the other Norfolk police officers who continue to serve this city and its residents with great pride and distinction." Officer Martin remains free on bond. I did reach out to a family member who preferred not to comment. In Norfolk, Andy Fox, 10 on your side.
In the early morning hours of April 13, 2022, Ashtabula police assembled at both ends of the Spring Street Bridge.
I don't want to hurt an officer. I respect them, but you know what?
Where an emotionally distraught 23-year-old David Ward was standing in the middle, holding a shotgun and suicidal.
He says that he's highly intoxicated. He says he wants to go suicide by cop.
Body camera video shows Ashtabula Police Lieutenant Dan Gillespie as the SWAT sharpshooter positions himself during a nearly 90-minute standoff. But as Ward starts to walk toward Lieutenant Gillespie,
"We can talk this through. I just need you to walk away from the gun."
Gillespie gives orders for about 90 seconds and then...
"Drop the gun."
David Ward died from a single gunshot to the chest.
According to state investigators, Lieutenant Gillespie was on one end of the bridge when he fired the fatal shot.
Meanwhile, David Ward was on the bridge, standing right about where I am right now. State investigators measured the distance between the two men at 482 feet, which is about a football field and a half away.
And there was no need for that.
Ward's family sued the city of Ashtabula for excessive force.
David had an unloaded shotgun, and he was not running at anybody. He was not pointing the gun at anybody.
Ashtabula Police Chief Robert Snell defended Gillespie's actions.
It was difficult for us to tell what type of firearm it was, other than it was a long firearm that could very easily make that shot at the officers as well.
A grand jury did not indict Gillespie, but the city, through its insurance company, settled the lawsuit last month for $2.5 million. However, this is not the first time that Gillespie's been sued in federal court for excessive force. 6 years ago, he was part of another lawsuit after he shot and paralyzed a man.
I need help with everything. For the most part.
Brendan Hester says he was holding a home intruder on the ground at gunpoint while waiting for police to arrive. The lawsuit claims Gillespie came through the door and started shooting. After a BCI investigation, a grand jury once again did not indict Gillespie. That lawsuit settled for $6.5 million. So after $9 million in payouts, insurance companies did want to cover Gillespie. The city of Ashtabula had no choice but to fire him. But just 1 week later, Gillespie was hired by the Ashtabula County Sheriff's Office.
He's a very good police officer.
Where Sheriff Bill Nemi is unapologetic.
This line of work, we have to make decisions in a split second. And he was cleared from a grand jury. He was investigated by BCI, cleared of the shooting.
You see, unlike the city, the county is self-insured through a pool of Ohio counties, meaning taxpayer money covers any claims. When you think of an officer who's cost a city in 2 separate civil lawsuits, a total of $9 million, does that give you pause?
It does give you pause, but you have to look at the other side of it. I don't understand why the city didn't fight for him.
3 News Investigates obtained city records showing that the $9 million of settlements were covered by the city's police insurance policies. However, since then, the city's premiums have quadrupled and for a lot less protection, with no coverage now for any claims beyond $2 million.
I would rather have my son here. Absolutely.
For David Ward's mom, the lawsuit was not about money.
Once the policies were changed in the city and the officer was terminated, that to me was my win.
Officers must now give a warning that they will shoot if a suspect does not comply when feasible. In the 90 seconds of orders from Gillespie, there was no such warning. Ward's family believes there should have been on that fateful night.
This was a young man who was desperately in need of help, not a bullet.
I guess it's hard to tell when you're voting for these guys if they're, going to embarrass you later and make you wish you hadn't voted for them. But this goofball thumb, this thumb that looks like an eagle with his pursed lips, Sheriff Coachy man's trail of damage, pays for damage of department-issued vehicle after OUI arrest. Springfield, Massachusetts, Hamden County Sheriff Nick Coachy, look at him there, the eagle thumb, was arrested for operating under the influence last month that caused damage to his department-issued vehicle. On September 21st, Coachy reportedly told police that he drank a couple of beers while playing golf at the Springfield Country Club before driving to MGM Springfield. Oh, upper tax bracket blues, am I right, folks? The vehicle was found parked in the valet area, with its right front tire missing and damage to the wheel. And knuckleheads in there having another beer, allegedly, most likely. Elected goofball above the law, Coachy. Moments later, as Coachy approached the valet area, which what the police report says was unsteady on his feet, with bloodshot eyes and slurred speech. Based on the officer's observations and review of the video from the casino, Coachy was arrested and charged for operating a motor vehicle under the influence of intoxicating liquor. Woo! Coachy. At his arraignment, Coachy pleaded to sufficient facts that his case was continued without finding for 1 year. His license is temporarily suspended for 45 days. That's it. The OUI charge will be dismissed at the end of the year upon successful completion of the term set by the court. State police believe he crashed his car before turning onto State Street in Springfield. In a news release sent to 22 News from the spokesperson, blah, 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 Coachy paid for the repair costs of the damaged vehicle. Well, that was $2,428.24 and was paid this week by Coachy, which included a full set of tires for the Ford Explorer. That's funny. Even though only one tire was damaged in the incident. Well, isn't that nice of you, Coachy? Get a little pat on the back for that, maybe a donut. Since that Saturday night, I have tried to do everything to take responsibility for this incident. We're going to read this one, you guys. I apologized and took responsibility in court to the media, not to us. You need to reach out to the Bad Apple Report and apologize profusely to these viewers here. We're here every morning. We want to hear one of you guys apologize to us. Okay. And I took time to look my staff members in the eyes. Like the old eagle thumb would do. He gave them the eagle eye, you guys. And tell that I'm sorry for my actions on that night. Oh, just go write a country song about it, goofball. Paying the cost of any damage, including for a set of tires. There's the first verse right there, is the right thing to do. Oh, we're coming up on the chorus. No matter what mistakes I make, I was raised to accept responsibility. And that's my aim here. Oh my goodness, that's the hook. And that's my aim here, Sheriff Coachy said. All right, look at that goofball. He's definitely going on the cover of the Bad Apple Report. Thanks for being here, folks.
$150,000 to a woman who police shot in the face with a rubber bullet during social justice protests. That body camera footage shows officers firing dozens of rounds at protesters near West Jefferson Street in May of 2020. That protest was over the police raid that led to Breonna Taylor's death. Shannon White sued LMPD for excessive force and civil rights violations. We've edited this photo of her injury because it is very graphic. Her face is now permanently scarred. The lawsuit says White was part of a group of peaceful demonstrators, but was still shot anyways. The suit claims LMPD did not issue any warnings of potential use of force if that group did not disperse. It also says police did not try to help White or call an ambulance for her after she was hit.
And that's a wrap, folks. Thank you so much for being here to watch the Bad Apple Report. We'll see you right back here tomorrow morning at 7:30 a.m. bright and early. Have a great day.